you're joining us here at Oulton Park's start-finish line. It's the THUNDERSPORT GB Championship and you're joining us for round 5, 2016.
Yeah, welcome to Oulton Park then. It's round 5 of the 2016 THUNDERSPORT GB Championships. 9 rounds overall, so 4 to go after this one. There is your championship leader in the Sparklight Racing, Golden Era Supersport and Steelsports, Chris Helliwell. Nick Wainwright here, sponsored by Into Gear, also on the front row of the grid. Of course, this championship, as I mentioned, Helliwell leading it, Nick Wainwright second overall. Keep an eye out for Ryan Cooper, third in the championship, number 26. And there'll be a few other riders that will also put their names into the frame here. In terms of the steel frames, well, David Langley, championship leader, but he comes into this round just 8 points clear of Mark Biswell overall. It's very close indeed. There, here we go then, into turn 1. Old Hall corner at Oulton Park, and it's Helliwell with the whole shot. Helliwell number 64 with the advantage, and they all make it round turn 1 nice and clean. Here we are on board with Stubble Racing Yamaha rider Andy Scanlon, who's flying through to second place. Brilliantly done underneath Nick Wainwright there. There is Mark Biswell, mentioned him a little while ago, number 35. He is one of many steel frame riders out there. Interesting weather here today at Oulton Park. At the moment it's nice and bright, but there's a bit of rain forecast for later. Of course, these guys, 2 races here today, double points on offer. So really important for these guys to try and get on terms with Chris Helliwell, who comes into this round already with a huge lead overall in the championship. There's number 1, steel frame champion, just going through your picture a moment ago from last season, Chris Spink. Number 2 is Sam Nicholson. Interesting colour scheme for Sam Nicholson here this weekend. And now here we go down into Hezzy's corner. Scanlon there in second place. 26 Ryan Cooper, we mentioned him at the start. He's got himself up into third place and looks quite aggressive in the early stages. Nick Wainwright there in fourth, just trying to settle into this race. Here we are then on board with Andy Scanlon in second, now chasing down, or attempting to chase down Chris Helliwell. There's Cooper. That's big and brave here as we come through one of the faster parts of this circuit through Druids, and Cooper does well there to make it stick as well around Druids, and Cooper now up into second place, and he will hunt down Chris Helliwell. In the background there is Martin Bloomfield, number 28, who started from the front row. Then it's number 3 and number 5, Adrian Bridges and Matty Gowan. Matt Gowan there, number 5, currently I think just leading the steel frames in this race so far. Here we are on board with Andy Scanlon, and through goes Nick Wainwright. Good move there, and there's a bit of a gap then back to Bloomfield and number 3 Adrian Bridges. This is a big battle going on here. A few steel frame riders in there. You'll notice the black helmet with the yellow spots there for Rob Morby as well, last year's and the year before that Senior Cup winner from the THUNDERSPORT 500 Championship. Golden Era Supersport, of course, who used to be in with the Superbikes, getting their own grid these last couple of seasons, and nice to see a few riders out there on these 600s. Good opportunity here to bring in THUNDERSPORT Syd, of course co-director THUNDERSPORT GB. Syd, you must be quite pleased with how the Golden Era Supersport Championship has panned out over the last few seasons, although it's quite clear to see that the weapon of choice in this class is that trusty Yamaha R6.
The R6, Steve, you know all about that, you had one yourself. Yeah, brilliant. And got Chris Helliwell, obviously ran away with it. Look at that. Oh, lovely overtaking manoeuvre there from Andy Scanlon.
Yeah, just underneath Nick Wainwright. Scanlon and Wainwright here having a proper dust-up. Of course, both of these riders also on Yamahas. In fact, you look down the grid at the moment, the first of the non-Yamahas is Matty Gowan that we saw a moment ago, number 5. On board again here with Scanlon. Just coming through Druids. He left the door open there and almost gets barged off the circuit. That was a bit naughty and a bit close from Nick Wainwright as they went around Druids, because there's not a lot of room there, and you can understand totally why Scanlon there decided to roll off. And Ryan Cooper, my word, he thought about a lunge up the inside. They've got a bit of traffic just to deal with here as they come around to complete another lap. That there is number 10 Cookson up the inside then here for Ryan Cooper into turn 1. Had a bit of a standoff there, didn't they? But it is Cooper that goes through into the lead now. Chris Helliwell has got to think hard about this. I'm sure he'll fight for the win for a few laps, but this is about this championship. He cannot afford in a double points race, Sid, to be throwing away 50 points, or in this particular case 40 points, to a rider who at the moment is quite a way down on him overall.
Well, of course, Chris ran away with this championship at the very beginning, and seemed like there was no catching him, but I mean, to be fair, Nick Wainwright, Ryan Cooper, Andy Scanlon, Mark Bloomfield's always been thereabouts. But, I mean, Andy Scanlon, who has been recovering from a nasty shoulder injury for some time, and I mean, he's done really well. But they're really taking it to Chris now, and this stuff at the front is so good. Brilliant grid this now. We're really pleased.
Into the slipstream there, Chris Helliwell. I thought he might think about a move on Ryan Cooper, but not this time around. He might just follow Cooper for a couple of laps, just see where perhaps he's a bit quicker. In fairness to Cooper, he has been charging through the pack. Further back there's Bloomfield, Morby, then it is number 5, a new name to me certainly, Matt Gowan from Fleetwood, out there doing very well on his steel frame bike. A moment just there for number 65 David Langley, a bit wide down into his chicane, but back to the front of this Golden Era Supersport race. In the background there you can see Nick Wainwright in 3rd, Scanlon in 4th, but it's Ryan Cooper from Leeds on that Coops Racing Race HQ Yamaha R6 that has the lead over Sparklight Racing backed rider Chris Helliwell as they go across the line.
Nice to see Chris Spink back out there, last year's champion in the Steelies. He's doing quite well again.
Yeah, Chris Spink, of course, the champion last year, had a decent burner with Jack Haberkamp overall for the steel frame competition, and came out victorious, hence why he has the number 1 plate on. Saw there Rob Morby, good move there from Rob into turn 1.
Yeah, Chris didn't think he was going to make it for this season, to be fair, so he has come in quite late, but he's doing a great job. But this, obviously, between David Langley and Mark Biswell in the Steelies, I mean, it's very close stuff.
Here we see then Cooper it is that still has this advantage from Chris Helliwell through Britain chicane. Just trying to get on terms with him now into the slipstream, onto the back straight. A bit of traffic again here, number 31. That's Steve Chadwick they're coming up on.
Yeah, you might have thought that Chris Helliwell, Skid Marks as he likes to be known by his friends, and wouldn't like all this extra competition, but in fairness, he absolutely loves it. He loves the fact that there's someone to race with, and I think that's what racing's all about. You don't like to just race yourself.
No, absolutely not. Here you can see Biswell, classic example of that. Beautifully turned out Honda steel frame there for number 35. He's made up a place. This is Cooper though, number 26, still up ahead of Helliwell. Nick Wainwright then has closed that gap down, hasn't he? Look at that, he's up into 3rd place. He deals with the traffic as well, and this could be some race forming up here in the latter stages. We're on board with Helliwell at the moment in 2nd place. There's the gap back to Cooper, but the door was left open and Nick Wainwright gobbles him up and says thank you very much and moves up into 2nd place. So, well, if Chris Helliwell did want a race, he's certainly got one here. Just going through there is Matt Gowan at the bottom of your picture and Rob Morby. There's Biswell, nice move on Martin Bloomfield, just into turn 1. Biswell making good progress, 2nd overall in the steel frames behind Matt Gowan overall, but with Matt Gowan not having attended around so far, well, certainly not to my knowledge, Biswell at the end of this one, as it stands, would take the lead of the steel frame championship.
Yeah, Nick Wainwright, by the way, has had a huge sense of urgency and a surge of confidence of late. He's sponsored by Paints Fiction and Into Gear. Absolutely brilliant racing of late, and always a big smile on the podium.
He might not have a smile on his face there though. Chris Helliwell has just gone past him, down into his ease. Beautifully executed there from Helliwell, who got into the slipstream, pulled out at the right moment. So Wainwright got it all to do again. These two need to try and find a way of closing down Cooper out front. Further back here is Rob Morby. This is the battle then for 5th place onwards. There you just see number 35 Biswell going through. Quite a bit of overtaking going on through his east chicane. Now they'll go up into Knickerbrook, and now we're back to the front. Here is Chris Helliwell, just up behind Ryan Cooper, and now he manages to get his way back up into the lead again. Brilliantly done there by Helliwell, and executed very well indeed, but he runs wide. What on earth happened there? Nick Wainwright out of the final corner. I just saw him hanging off his bike. He must have had some sort of high side moment there, and the red flags have gone out. Nick Wainwright's gone down. We hope that he's okay. That race is going to get declared, and Ryan Cooper on count back. Oh, Helliwell will be destroyed after that. Ryan Cooper takes the win ahead of Chris Helliwell. Andy Scanlon will get third, Morby fourth, Matt Gowan fifth, and Mark Biswell in sixth place. There's your top three then: Cooper, Helliwell and Scanlon. And in the steel frames, it's Matt Gowan, the winner, ahead of Mark Biswell and Chris Fink.
Incredible race, so tight at the front.
Yeah, I got a shit start. I was down in fifth from qualifying, so I knew I had to go when Chris went, because if he goes on his own, he's dangerous. So I got a break. We got caught a back marker up on the last turn on to start-finish straight, and I thought, right, this is my moment, this is where I'm going to go through, and that's what I did. And I just kept my head down, kept to my markers, and he come underneath me down into deer sleep, and ran wide, and I just come back and kept my head and just brought it home for a win. Absolutely chuffed to bits.
Absolutely excellent. Shout out to anyone?
Yeah, massive thanks to everybody that helps me out, but in particular Race HQ, Gav, Dave and all lads at High Fibre for all my bodywork and crash damage the repair. Continental Tyres, Graham's been absolutely fantastic as always, helps me out no end. You know, he's always there for advice and whatever else. And then there's family, friends, Morris Lubricants, Teng Tools, and anybody that comes and supports me and cheers me on round there.
Matty, great win. Just before you got wet, it was nice and dry anyway, at least.
Yeah, it was. Well, we caught it right, didn't we? It's now umping it down, so I'm glad it wouldn't have been the same sort of times as it would have been now anyway. So.
Excellent, and you had a new lap record as well, which is very tasty. Have you got some people to thank?
Yeah, it's a bit of a bonus that as well. Well, that's Mark Garside. He's built that bike, and it's a belter. It's up for sale next year if anybody fancies it. So, yeah, Mark Garside, me old man. That's all that is with us, really. Yeah.
Well, our best regards to Nick Wainwright. Hopefully he's fit and ready for race 2, which is coming up next. Here we go then, time for race 2 in the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersport and Steelsport. Great job as ever being done by the twins there, Sarah and Kirsty. Chris Helliwell, championship leader, thumbs up, and rightly so. Big lead in the championship, finished second in race 1. Nick Wainwright, wow, it's great to see him back on the grid after that big crash earlier on. If he was a footballer, he'd be out for 10 weeks after a moment like that. Martin Bloomfield there, third on the grid. And Ryan Cooper, of course, the winner in race 1. Double points, so it was 50 for him. The sun is beating down on us here at Oulton Park, but there is some rain forecast later. Can we escape it? Away from the lights we go. Helliwell looked good there, number 64, but so did Nick Wainwright, number 68. And as we go into turn 1, look like Helliwell just closed the door on him and will lead through Old Hall Corner and then down into Cascades. A few riders there taking some risky lines. On board here with Scan. Look at the speed he's got. As we head downhill, he's moved up into 4th place. Good job done by him. Number 65 just going through is David Langley, up ahead of Mark Biswell around Cascade. Earlier on in the steel frames, you saw number 5, Matt Gowan, take the lead. And I'm just trying to keep an eye out for him at the moment. He's still in the mix. On board here with Andy Scanlon as he now tries to outbrake Nick Wainwright. Look at those aggressive clouds just in the background there. Here as we go around Shell Oils, Hairpin, bit of dust down. We had 1 or 2 crashes here today at Oulton Park and a few high sides coming out of Shell Oils. The aptly named Shell Oils Hairpin. Now through Britain's chicane, and it's Helliwell that leads. And look at the advantage he's got early on here over the rest of the field. A new helmet for Nick Wainwright needed after that big crash at Deer Sleep earlier. There's Ryan Cooper just cutting the nose off there of Luke McRae from Billingshurst. A couple of riders having to go straight on there. They've outbraked themselves. And there is steel frame champion of last year, Chris Spink. Chris Spink at the moment inside the top 10. just inside the top 3 overall in the steel frame competition. Let's not forget, they also pick up Golden Era Supersport points overall. But Syd, who joins me here for this race, looking at Chris Helliwell, this is perfect way of getting away from the line and building a lead in the opening laps. What a job he's done here.
But it's what he's done most of the season, Steve. Been very good at that. But as I said in race 1, you know, the other guys have really brought it to him and are making up the difference. I mean, as you know, he only needs a couple of DNFs and he's back in trouble again.
Just saw Ryan Cooper there making up another place. He's charging forward again, just as he did in race 1. There's Nick Wainwright. I wonder if he's feeling it a bit after that big crash on the exit of the final turn. Number 3 is Adrian Bridges from Solihull, another of our Sparklight Racing backed riders. This is the battle for 2nd place, remember. We're on board now with 3rd place rider Andy Scanlon. Number 24 gets some decent speed around Island Bend, and that has given him the opportunity now to go underneath Nick Wainwright into Shell Oils and over the cement dust there. There's Adrian Bridges again, just going ahead of number 28, Martin Bloomfield from Tarporley on the EB Racing Yamaha, been in this championship now since it was first created.
With Scanlon, it's all about that shoulder injury, and you know, as the race goes on, he gets in more and more pain. He is building it up, but that's where he gets into a bit of trouble. At the race beginning, well, as you can see, he's got really good speed, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that R6.
No, I would imagine if you've got shoulder issues, the last place you want to come racing is Oulton Park.
It's tough.
You don't exactly get a rest round here.
No rest at all.
So Scanlon, we'll see how he gets on in the latter stages of this race. In fairness though, no one's catching this guy. Chris Helliwell here. He's in the low 149s, not quite on lap record pace. It was set by Rob Goodall last year, but he doesn't need to be on lap record pace. He's already a second and a half quicker than anyone else on every lap. What on earth has changed between this race and the last?
He'll have good pit boards there as well, Steve, and he's obviously got a good team behind him, Sparklight Racing, who do hire bikes, which is basically what Chris has done for this year. And as you know, they also sponsor this particular grid.
Yeah, good loyal sponsors. Sparklight Racing, been in this Thundersport paddock for a while now. On board with Scanlon, good move that from Nick Wainwright. And he takes the inside line again as we head around Cascades. Now this is the part of the circuit where Scanlon managed to get back past him earlier on. Let's see what he can do this time as they head into Island Turn, when in fact he might lose a place because that was close. Ryan Cooper, number 26, of course, race winner from earlier, trying to find a way through. And he does finally make his way through. There are a few spots of rain on the screen there of Scanlon. It's possible. We are expecting a bit of rain. That would be a worry to 1 or 2. There's the leader of the steel frame just going through his shot, number 5. And Matt Gowan again. Rob Morby up inside the top 6 and 7. Biswell fighting it out once more, but this is the fight for second. Wainwright at the moment has it. Cooper, well, he won the race earlier. He won't be winning this. There's Adrian Bridges. He has done well these last couple of laps, and he now closes in on Andy Scanlon as well. There's Rob Morby at the bottom of your picture there, who's just gone straight on through the runoff area at his ease. This is the lead. Look at that lead for Chris Helliwell. He's going down now, tipping into the final turn. There is Nick Wainwright and Ryan Cooper. Cooper now pulls out of the slipstream, tries to get the inside line, and neatly done. Cooper now into second place.
Yeah, he's better at the race than the starts, it seems, doesn't it?
It certainly does seem to be that way for Cooper, but of course you give yourself a lot of work if you're far back on the grid here, and with double points on offer. It's a big day. Oulton Park, it comes around a similar stage of the season each year, Syd, with Thundersport, around the middle part of the season, by which time all the championships have already started to take shape. But when there's double points on offer, what a difference one day can make in the championship. Oulton Park certainly sometimes has had a tendency to either almost give a rider a championship in terms of extending their lead, or it's closed them up because, of course, there's that great advantage of those points available in one haul.
As you say, it's one of one and one of the other. I mean, it certainly has given some riders who were possibly even ready to give up, you know, huge amount of confidence to go for a championship win for the rest of the season. They can actually see that they've made a difference. I think that, you know, the only problem is with it is that, you know, one mistake and you lose the 50 points effectively, or double points. That is the only problem with a one-day event.
Well, the big problem at the moment for these guys is that the man they don't want to get 50 points looks like he's well on his way to getting them. Halliwell out front by quite some distance. Cooper now, since going into second, has stretched away from Nick Wainwright, who you can just see in front of us here. We're on board with Andy Scanlon coming through Druids. Fast right-hander here. You've got to be brave. Then on the power as early as you can. A bit of a wobble from the front end, which will go light, and then braking downhill into Lodge Corner. One of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit. You have to get it absolutely spot on. That's the part of the circuit there where Nick Wainwright went down earlier, and you can understand why he maybe is going through there a little slower than he did last time.
Oh, he's looking behind. He's looking behind.
Ah, he's got a problem then. Nick Wainwright might well be out of this race. And there he is. Oh, there's something coming out. Something's coming out. He's got a problem with his bike. Just up in the top left corner of your screen there, Nick Wainwright will be out of this race with a mechanical failure. Well, what a disappointing day it's been for Nick Wainwright, who, of course, was second in the championship coming into this weekend.
Devastating for him. And, of course, it'll probably be, I mean, I'm not saying for sure, a result of that laying on its side in the gravel trap, running with no oil, going to all the bearings, etc., before you can get to the kill switch.
That's, of course, a result of that crash from earlier on, and it just goes to show you, as we mentioned a little while ago, about the difference a day can make. Chris Halliwell is set to build on his championship lead. The good news is for this man, Ryan Cooper, well, he was third overall in the standings. He will move up to second place overall, but trying to dent Chris Halliwell's confidence is going to take something. And with 4 rounds left in the Thundersport Championship, okay, there's 400 points still available, but they are some distance behind Chris overall, and a lot of work to do as we head to Rockingham.
Don't forget, that is a bogey circuit for some riders. It's a left-handed circuit, which a lot of riders are not used to. They don't necessarily like it so much, but have to do it. It's the championship. So that throws up a lot of odd results.
Yeah, well, it's not everyone's favourite, certainly. A bit Marmite, isn't it, Rockingham, for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Some love it, some hate it.
But you never know what might happen. Chris Halliwell at the moment, it doesn't really seem to matter what circuit we go to. He looks strong. He looks like he's got a solid package. And it's looking like maybe, after a lot of years of trying, he is getting closer and closer to picking up that first Thundersport GB championship that he's been chasing for so long. Here is Andy Scanlon just up ahead of your steel frame race leader Matt Gowan. Then it's Rob Morby there ahead of Spink and 149. Jonathan Harrison now. Not mentioned him yet, Jonathan Harrison, rider from Darlington, brother of Richie Harrison. And of course, this must be his first time out with Thundersport since he clinched the inaugural Thundersport 500 Championship in 2009. So really nice to see Jonathan out there, getting himself back out on circuit. So brilliant stuff from him. Looking further back to see where Richie Harrison is. Of course, why am I looking down on this particular time screen when he races in Golden Era Superbikes?
Yeah,
So, Richie Harrison will be up in the Golden Era Superbikes here this weekend.
Never mind, Steve.
There's always other jobs. There is Chris Spink, just going through on Richie Harrison. Well, for someone who's not spent too much time on a race bike, he's not doing a bad job, is he? Number 149. There is 64 though, Chris Halliwell. His lead at the moment is just hovering around that 7-8 second mark. Last lap flag is now out. Ryan Cooper has done very well to get himself back up into second place, but unfortunately it's to no avail. He will not catch Chris Halliwell, who could set up camp and watch the rest of his race. To be honest, such a good performance from him, and it's that damage he did in those opening laps that has got him this victory. This continues to roar on though. The battle further back. There's Adrian Bridges, just up ahead of Rob Morby and Jonathan Harrison. And then Chris Spink. Some glory on offer there. Of course, Jonathan Harrison, one of the steel frame riders. This man leads the steel frames, Matt Gowan. He's on for finishing in 4th overall. Jonathan Harrison, if he can stay ahead of Chris Spink, will get himself on the podium on his return to Thundersport. I presume it's a one-off return, might not be, but either way, it's good to have him back out on circuit. Chris Helliwell then, half a lap to go now here at Oulton Park. It will be a 2nd place and a 1st place finish, 90 out of a possible 100 for the championship leader, and we will get to see the championship standings in a moment. And I'm afraid it'll be one of those moments where the rest of the field best look away, because it's going to be well over 150 points his advantage, I fear.
But isn't it fun? There's Rob Morby, who I thought he had a good race one, finished in 4th place. He started to get to grips with the R6, having been champion several times in the Thundersport 500 seniors. But it's really funny, like you said earlier, Steve, I can't understand why, but the sun is shining, everything's lovely. Why aren't they catching him?
Well, you just never know, but they can't catch him at the moment, and they're not going to. They've run out of time. The checkered flag is out, and that's a brilliant win from Chris Helliwell. He didn't have to push the boat out today, and he hasn't even been challenged here in this 2nd race. And so it's another bit of silverware then for the championship leader, Chris Helliwell. He wins this one by 8.2 seconds ahead of Ryan Cooper. Andy Scanlon was 3rd. Good result for him. Ahead of Matt Gowan, who won the steel frame. Jonathan Harrison, solid 5th for him on his return. And Adrian Bridges. There's Helliwell on the top step, Cooper on the left, Scanlon on the right. And in the steel frames, it is Matt Gowan, the winner, from Jonathan Harrison and Chris Spink. Let's look at those championship standings then. Chris Helliwell, look at that. Well over 150 points leads. It's his to lose. He's got one hand on that Golden Era Supersport trophy as we head into Rockingham ahead of Ryan Cooper. And in the Steel Sport, well, it's a lot closer. 14 points between Mark Biswell and David Langley, with Ian Evans up into 3rd place.
Andy, well, as I said to you earlier, I mean, a few months ago, you'd grabbed 2 third places with both hands.
Definitely. I'll be honest, like just being in the top 5, I'm absolutely over the moon at the minute. The standard's so high this year. But like you said, what happened to me at the start of the year, I had a pretty bad accident, put me in hospital for a while. To get out and ride the bike, I was made up, was the first step, but to get onto the podium, over the moon. I couldn't beat it. So massive thanks to my old man. He's helped us up so much, getting us through. A load of other people as well, but it's a bit warm out there, so I'm still getting my brain back.
Ryan, well, 2nd place. I mean, I know you would have preferred to come 1st, but it's a whole bag full of points this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, everyone likes to come 1st, don't they? Especially when Chris is winning all the time. It's nice to share it a bit. But yeah, I'm happy. I've had a good weekend. I had a poor test yesterday, and it's just nice to come away with a bag full of points. And I think I've taken 2nd in championship now, so I'll just build on and keep plugging away and see if we can give Chris a run for his money.
Well, consistency is the key, and you certainly are doing that. And sponsors to thank?
Yeah, just like I said, I'd like to thank Gavitt Race HQ and his mum for all the bike work they do for me. They're absolutely fantastic. There's all lad Dave and all the lads at I5 once again. We out there won't have a nice looking bike. Continental Tyres, Graham, spot on. Family, friends, everybody who just comes and supports me. Oh, Morris Oils and Tank Tools as well.
Chris, you're back up here on top again. Huge bag full of points this weekend anyway.
Yeah, that was the plan. It's dodgy because it's a double points weekend. That's why I feel sorry for Nick a little bit with his blow up there and his crash earlier on. It's just a shame it's a double weekend. We can't have another race tomorrow. But yeah, really happy. Race 1 today. We're coming. I took time a little bit because it was double points. Then I started to come. Nick came past me. I went back past him and wanted to get to Coop, and that red flag came out. That race I went from off, hoping that Coop got stuck in a pack, and he's got stuck in a pack, and then it were, yeah, boring for you guys on TV, I'm afraid. Sorry about that, but it's better for me having 50 points in back.
Well done. And sponsors to thank, of course.
Thank you very much for everybody on there, as always. I'll do it this way. And as always, massive thanks to Avon as well. Honest to God, them tyres, he's working on them, they're getting better every week. Every weekend I come here, we were lap record holding out again. We are Avon tyres. They're not bad, are they? But massive thanks to Gary and Matt and everybody, friends and family who've come and watched again. And all my sponsors, personal sponsors, thank you very much. And thanks to Thundersport.
Oh, thank you, Chris. A perfect day for you. We move away then from Oulton Park. Next up for the Golden Era Supersport Field, Rockingham for round 6. We'll see you there.